Well, I came up from showering Mom, and Jack was busy. He picked all the beets, well, half the beets, and he's getting them ready for me to work with. We're going to make pickled beets, and we're going to make cooked beets. So we're going to go to the garden, and I'll show you. He surprised me, I'll tell you. We'll go to the garden. We had a real windstorm last night. It's still blowing quite a bit. So I think he picked half the beets. You can hardly see where they were growing, but there we go. And we got some left. They're quite nice. So that's a good job. This is going to be a fruit garden for next year. That's what this is going to be. We have big plans to make life easy. So here we are. No rain. We had wind all night. Come on out. There you go. Okay. So we'll get back to you shortly. Here we are. We are doing beets today, and as you know, Jack already had started, and we have half of our batch, which wasn't big. So what we have done, because I want you to know, what we have done is this pot has the bigger ones. They're all washed. What happens is you leave some stem so they don't bleed out too badly, and you leave the root till after they're cooked. And then after they're cooked, I'll be back to show you what we do with them. So this is all from our garden. No pesticide, no sprays, all natural. And then these bigger ones, they'll be used for, I freeze with just a bit of butter sauce on them. And then I put them in special bags and put them in the freezer. And I'll show you that too. And here is the little ones. These will be pickled beets. Pickled beets have sugar and other things, but you don't have to eat the juice. It does pickle them in their Mom's old recipe she's had since I was a kid, and we all love it. Everybody loves it. So, and then here I got a whole bag of tops, all washed and cut, and they will be frozen. They will be blanched and frozen. So, and here is the compost. So that's the only waste, but it goes back to the garden. So I'll be putting some water in these, and I will be boiling them. And I'm not going to say how long, because I just come out and I stick a fork in. Ta-da! I stick a fork in. And when they're tender, because the smaller ones will be ready sooner, so they will in different pots because of that than the bigger ones. So when they're ready, then I'll be back to let you know what I'm doing with them. So that'll be it for now. Hopefully this all turns out good. It is nice and cool and cloudy with some sun poking through this morning. Here we are. The water is boiling. Phone was ringing. Everything was happening. You know how it is. So anyway, here I have washed all the tops of all the beets, and I'm taking this knife. You know I'm good with knives. Do you remember this in video? Anyway, and I have chopped them all up into about, well, some of the small ones I left, but most of the big ones, I've chopped them into pieces about this big. It's not that worrisome what to do. So over here I got water boiling. Over in the sink I have ice water. So what I'm going to be doing is putting these in the water for 2 minutes, and I have a timer, Then they go straight into the ice water. Then they go on a towel to dry. And then they go in a small Ziploc bag so that I later put in a bigger Ziploc bag, because that way it'll be portions for one person. So I don't know, sometimes Jack doesn't want a vegetable or whatever. If they're all frozen in a big bag, then you gotta chop it off frozen. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I could let you watch, but I better concentrate what I'm doing, and I'll be back when I get this organized. They're in the boiling water. I got my gloves ready. I put them in a straining handled pot that fits inside the boiling water pot. And I've got the timer set for 2 minutes, and it's got 43 seconds left. And it is boiling away. Every once in a while, because I put all the ones that were on the chopping block into this little, because you know you start out with so much and you end up with so little. Anyway, I don't know, I've never done a cooking video before. Oh, I did a Christmas cake. So anyway, the buzzer will go in a few seconds, and then it goes into cold, straight cold water out of the tap. So there it goes. So I push stop and turn the heat off. And I'm going to bring this right over here because it will drip. If I put it on an angle, most of the drips will go that way. And you can see what I got in here. And the water's already quite red. Now from Beet Tops, you get vitamin A, E, C, and calcium, and a lot. And these were out in the hot weather all through that heat. All summer they've been in that heat. And the garden is hard like a rock. Then you want to stir it a bit, just to see if it's still cold. Now this water in here, we're going to just dump down the sink. There we go. We eat lots of beets around here, different ways, and then the tops. I mean, look at this beautiful green. You don't want to overcook them. So now what I'm going to do is, they're cooling quite nicely because I can feel it with my hands. I'm going to bring the pot over, put them in there. Isn't this fun? I couldn't believe it that Jack he never usually does that, but you know, he knew I was down doing Mom and other things going on, and so he was so nice to do that, because I was going to do the beets yesterday, and we took Mom for a ride in the car instead. And so he remembered that, so I was very surprised, and it was very nice. He'd gone out and picked them. So we want to get all these out of here. We had to get Mommy in the car. Oh my goodness. Because one leg she can't hardly lift because her hip is disintegrated. And her knees are both sore too. And so she couldn't, we put the seat as low as it go, but she couldn't get in. So Jack had to go over to his side of the car and pull her up to the seat, and we got her in. And then we were going to leave Maggie home, but we thought, no, we'll take Maggie too. And we put her blankets on the back seat with me, and we got Mom all buckled in, and we headed off to give her a tour. She hasn't been on a tour for a long time. Up where she used to live with my dad, and down to the thrift store, and then down to Tent City. That's what we call it. It's down past the thrift store where people are allowed to camp, and there's more and more coming because they said they're gonna build them some housing. So they get on the phone to their friends and they say, hey, come on up here. They're gonna build housing for us. Anyway, that's what's going on. So she sees this on the news. So now she got to see it in person. So she was quite surprised to see that. So we had a nice drive in the car. Maggie really, she doesn't like car rides. We got her, when we bought Maggie, she came from, you know, bad situation home. And we don't know what happened to her in a car, but she was not happy to be in the car. She was sure happy when we got home. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to drain this, and there'll be a few. And of course I cleaned the sink first. There, so here we are. And now what I want to do is drain this and get as much water out of it as possible. So, nice clean towel, and we'll go this way now before I put any more on the floor. Okay, down we go. Okay, I have to pick a couple little ones off the floor. That one never got cooked. Here, and I'll get these. Smells good. You don't want to overcook them, because when I do cook them, when they're frozen, I will just put them in a little quick stir fry, because they really don't have to be cooked that much. So we just want to pat them dry nicely. There. There. Get some little bags ready. So this is the tops done. I like to do everything when it's really fresh, because then if you do it when it's really fresh, you're getting all your proper nutrition. So, you know, you don't have, this video, by the way, is just how I do beets. You can look up how to do beet tops and find your own way, or something you think is better or easier or just safer. These are safe. Uh-oh. Maggie! Oh dear. Hold on. Hey! No, no. Get in here. Get in here. Come on. I'm sorry. There's a great big truck out there pumping water lines or something. You get in here. Everybody's going to know how bad girl you are. She's looking like sad. So, you know, that doesn't look like much, but we know it is. We know it is. So that's good for one person. So what, and don't you bark. She sees them. I don't know what they're doing. They, over at Ravencroft, one year all those houses fell. There was 5 of those houses that fell down the cliff. I went for a walk one morning. Here, there, let's go up. I went for a walk one morning, and I thought the trees looked a little like leaning over or something, but you know, it was early and I was out for my walk. So I went for a walk and I thought, well, that's strange. By the time I got home, 4 houses went down the hill. The people got out, nobody was hurt, and there was another one that went down a few days later. They had time to get more of their stuff out. But I guess the ground was, apparently, that the rain went down, and this was quite a few years ago, the rain went down, hit hard ground, and the top part was softer, it just slid right off the bottom part and down they went. It wasn't a good thing. But anyway, we saw all these ribbons and stakes when we went for a walk yesterday, and wondered what they're doing. But I see they got a big pumping machine over there, and I'm wondering if the ground isn't shifting a little bit again and has broken a pipeline or something. So we don't know, we haven't heard, and I'll let you know when I know. So that's just something going on in the neighborhood, and that's why she was barking, because it's a really big noise. You probably can't hear it in the background. So here we are, we're putting them in nice little bags, you know, and then you're going to squeeze all the air out. These will last like about 6 or 8 months. Excuse me. And that's all you do. And then I will put them in a big bag. I'm going to take get a drink. I'll put them in a big bag and label them. And when I want one, I just pick one out. So that's it until we get back to do the beets that are boiling in the water outside. All right, here we go. Now, the little ones are ready. There's a couple of the big ones that are poking out of the liquid a bit. So I'm going to pour some of this liquid in here. Look at that good beet juice. And the rest, I have cold water in here so that I can handle the little rascals. And I'll clean this pot later. I'll put it over here. There we go. And so then what I've done is here for about 5 minutes I have the liquid that goes around the beets. And that is 2 cups of cider vinegar. I use cider vinegar. 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of pickling salt, and make sure the box says salt ingredients, salt only, because you want coarse pickling salt, but you don't want all the additives. So make sure. And 1 teaspoon of ground allspice, and I use 2 tablespoons of, it's just a spice they sell, a mix pickling spice. Mustard seed, coriander, dill, a bunch of different ones. That's what I use. I used to put in cloves. Jack doesn't really like cloves in his, so. And you only have to, so this is Mom's recipe I've had for years, so yes, it looks rough. And put all the ingredients in a saucepan and boil for 5 minutes. I'm going to turn it off. It has been boiling for 5 minutes. And so then we want to skin the beets, chop them, put them in a jar, put the juice in and the lid on, and that part is done. So we'll do a couple jars and then I'll turn this camera off so I can charge it. The jars are all washed, left from when I did the grape juice, because we just did grape juice not too long ago. So I do have some cold water in here because I wouldn't be able to handle them. And then you just kind of, into the water, peel the skin off very nicely. And this is an old chopping block I leave for when I'm out in my summer kitchen. And I cut the ends off. And then I look at it, I say, okay, it's clean, it looks nice, and I'll cut it to the size I want in the jar. It's hot in there. So same thing. I think I'll be lucky to get 2 jars because, you know, there wasn't a lot of small ones. But I have lots of pickles left still from last year. So, let's take all the skin off. And half. And then it goes, and it's so simple. Jack's in there. He said, you didn't call me for coffee. We have breakfast early, say 7 o'clock. And then we end up stopping at 10 o'clock for either a glass of water or a cup of coffee or whatever. And then at 12 o'clock it's lunchtime. And then at 2 o'clock we do it again. We need to quit that. Seems like we're always snacking. But anyway, that's what we do. And then it's supper time before you know it, because we sit and gab. We always take our lunch and our break to the new patio now because it's so nice. We sold 2 chairs on Facebook that we had in that patio, and we sold them quite quickly, and then we've ordered 2 new chairs because those chairs we had were comfy. They were just chairs we had that we can lay down in if we want, or if there's company and they want to. You know, sometimes if you're older and you have trouble sleeping, then you can wander in another room. But you want a recliner that lays down so you can sleep. So that's what we've ordered. It's a cuddle one, so it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's a love seat recliner. So there's no center barrier. There's just, so we don't know when it's coming. We ordered it online, and you know, things take a while, so we'll see when it shows up. You know, you can, next year I'll be growing all my vegetables in these containers, which you will see. We've ordered them online, and we're redoing the fence. That's another project you'll see when it gets done. So, you can grow these in containers, because the vegetable garden, the big one, I'm going to put matting down so it doesn't get lots of weeds. And then there's going to be all fruit trees and fruit bushes in there. And then we've ordered, the neighbor and us, we had an agreement. He doesn't like chain link fence, but his fence is falling down. And he didn't build that fence. It was there when he went in, and it's in bad shape. So he didn't like chain link fence. He says, I'll put up a hedge, and when it's growing, I'll take the fence down. If you guys want to put up chain link, that's good. So that'll all be happening soon, hopefully. We have somebody coming to give us some quotes. And then you'll see how we're going to grow all our vegetables so that we can do it in old age if we live that long, and we're lucky enough, like Mom has. You never know, you never know what life's got in store for you. So we can hope. So make sure you get all the skin off. They come off so nice. See? Nice. They smell nice, and even though you lose lots of color, there's lots of nutrition left in them. So, we almost got a full jar here. Then I'm going to charge the camera before I do the buttered beets. So then I'll say, boy, that was a busy day's work. That was not real big, so it can just go in there like that. I got 2 kind of that probably won't fit in this jar. Put them there. I don't think we'll get a whole jar for the last one. I may have to run down and get a small jar from the canning cupboard. That's a little bit. Let's see. They clean it nice. And in it goes, and those can go there. This one here is kind of, these small ones, they were small, but you know, they still make good pickles. They were just grown by a big one. The big one was the lucky one. Oh, we're doing good here. There. You can do pickled beets with the big beets, but I like to just have some that are just no salt, no, and they're really nice how I do them, and they keep really good. I have some in the freezer from last year that we even ate last night. So. I was thinking I would do this. I don't know. What do you think? If you think it's something you want to see once in a while, well, I don't make that many things. I used to can everything. I used to can seafood, everything, you name it, boy. I canned it. I learned how to can in school. Mom didn't know how to can. So I learned in school, and then I just learned as I grew up to do this. So catch a fish, you freeze, you can it, you catch whatever you do, whatever you grow. There. So I think we're just about ready. Do you know there's only 3 beets left? I think I'll just put them in the fridge of those ones for supper. Yeah, I got a pickle jar there. I can just plop them in the jar that we have, and they'll be just fine. They're not going to be kept as long because we're eating that jar now. I like with dinner maybe 1 or 2 little pieces with dinner. So there we go. We got that before I clean up. And stir my sauce. And juice in. I have enough juice here. I just made 1 batch. I have enough juice left here to do more. But I'll jar it and it's all ready to go. Unless I pickle something else with the same recipe. So there we are. They're all in the... They will start to float. I'll put a tiny bit more there. And then I need a piece of paper towel to go over the top. There we go. And then I take my lid that's been overheated. Put it there, and a screw cap, and we're done. And I'm going to go charge the camera before it's lunchtime, and by the time I get cleaned up here. So I'm going to turn this off, and we have a nice jar here all ready. It will keep for a long time. Okay, bye for now. Here we are back at the kitchen. Here are the big beets all cooked. I got 2 jars. I stole a beet from the big jar, from the big ones to get a full jar. So now what I do is I cut these up. I let all the juice stay in there. So it's just a matter of cutting them up. That one was a little tough. It was one of those rooty ones. It's the only one. The rest are nice and tender, and you can see they're fully cooked. Very nice, see? So what I do is I just put them, I'm not measuring them, I'm just chopping them up. They're still hot. I like to do this when they're still hot. You could use warm butter over cooler beets and still freeze them if you don't have time the same day to do them. You could heat your butter, and all these do, once they're sliced up, there's that tough one, still good, there, there, just like this. Yeah, looking pretty good. And then you get a spoon and something to stir it with. There we go. And then I just put, that's probably enough butter. I just put them in a butter sauce. Any juice that has stayed in the bottom can stay there. And I'll show you. We're just going to back up for a minute. And there we go. I'm going to show you, because I had some of this last night. There's my frozen bag from last year. And I took this one out, and then they're kind of in a long shape, and I just chop a piece off. But this time I'm going to do how I did I'm going to use it like I did the beets. And so those have kept since last year. They were absolutely perfect last night for dinner. So we want to stir this up good. And then last night I did a little bit of I spiralized a yam and onion and garlic, and just took a couple of the buttered beets out and put them just did it in the wok very quickly. Made a very nice meal. So then what we'll do is we'll do individual sizes. And then put them in the other bag just for extra freezing safety. So that's probably enough. And I'll just seal that, turn that over, and I'll keep doing that until they're done. And then it'll be lunchtime. And it's been a very busy morning. You got to join me today. You never know what we're doing around here. We're always busy with something. So, there we go. Then they will go in the bigger bag and into the freezer, labeled, all ready to eat. And nice and fresh from our garden. Thank you for joining me. Give me a thumbs up, please. I know some of you always do. Thank you.